So we're going to start off this video with a little bit of a disclaimer. Long story short, if you came here for an in-depth analysis where I'm like poring over panels and shadowing and like the syntax of how characters are speaking, this is just not going to be the video for you. Main purpose of this video is going to be a quick overview of what we know of Yamato as of now, and as of now isn't very much, frankly speaking. And then kind of going into a quick kind of where I see this character going by the end of Wano. So let's move into our first segment, which I'm going to call What We Can Gather Thus Far. Perhaps the most clear-cut thing we know about Yamato thus far is that he's pretty key to the whole Big Mom Kaido alliance. From what we can tell, that seems to be what the big announcement is going to be at the end of the big ceremony. But what that actual announcement is, we don't know. From context, we can guess that he's going to get married off to one of the Charlotte children, because that seems to be how Big Mom operates her crew, given, Pudding, Lola, Chiffon. There's probably another sibling that's gotten married off that I'm not going to remember. You know what? There was actually one more. It was, I don't remember her name, but it's the fishman that was married off to, like, was she the best mate of Jinbei? Yeah, I don't remember his name. I'll throw up a picture somewhere over here. But yeah, that seems to be the most clear-cut thing we know about him. We know that he's Kaido's son. We don't know if he's a blood relative or he's adopted or whatever. But we can tell that the relationship is strained. Specifically, given his actions in this chapter and the fact that he's never been mentioned up until like 3 chapters ago, we can assume that they don't get along very well. We can also tell that he's pretty strong, given that he just speed blitzes one of the Toby Roppo the same way he did with Luffy, or the same way.
My brain is still in recovery mode from taking in so many high-level important ideas.
Kaido did with Luffy. There we go. We got our words straight. Yeah, because of this, I think it's safe to assume that Yamato is, at the very least, in the same sort of tier as the Toby Roppo, if he's not, like, in the same tier as, like, the Yonko commanders under Kaido. And honestly, he could be the secret ace that would complete the whole royal flush scheme that Kaido seems to have with, King, Queen, Jack, Drake being 10, and then, the ace, of course. If Kaido doesn't assume that he himself is the ace. We know that his hair color is fairly light, and the main reason for bringing this up is to point out that Kaido has dark hair, so either Yamato's mom had light hair or he's adopted, and that's kind of why I'm leaning towards him not being just like a clear-cut, oh yeah, he's Kaido's son, blood son, straight out. That's my main hold-up with that. But, in terms of personality, Yamato seems to be a fairly stand-up guy. I mean, he's got some of those, like, Katakuri vibes where he, like, respects Luffy to some degree, but we don't really know why he respects him. I assume in the next chapter that's going to get more fleshed out, but because we're doing this now, we just don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much everything in terms of, like, concrete knowledge in terms of him. He's just, like, such a new character. So we're just gonna move into where I see him going in by the end of Wano. We're gonna call this next segment something along the lines of character trajectory. Now, I got a couple points about this. Where I see his character going, he's probably gonna play a similar role to Jinbei from Marineford, in the sense that he's gonna be that guy who kind of showed up in one of the previous arcs, and then he kind of provides support for Luffy in the ensuing battle. But this time, he's got his crew with him, so things are going to turn out differently in, Wano. Side note to that, this whole Momonosuke being up for execution situation really, in my mind, parallels the whole Ace situation, to the point that, because Luffy has his crew this time, I get a really strong feeling that, he's not going to fail. And I think that was done intentionally by Oda to sort of, lay it home that, it's really the connection that Luffy has with his crew that, he really is able to draw a lot of his strength from. It's kind of a similar sort of idea to like some of Dostoevsky's writings, where he believes that, miracles are born out of faith, and faith is born out of like our connections to other people. But I could just be reading that totally blind out of nowhere. He's likely going to be fighting on the side of the rebellion because of all of this. He could be tricking Luffy, trying to lure him into a false sense of security, but I don't see that really playing out, because otherwise it just wouldn't make sense for him to attack one of the Toby Robo in the first place. But that's just me. I'd be willing to put money on him fighting with the rebellion. And then what he's going to do after the whole fight is over, I see this working in two ways. He's either going to be staying and helping Momonosuke rebuild what his father has just done to just destroy the island in terms of like climate and environment, or he's just going to leave and take whatever remnants of Kaido's crew is left and is willing to like join up with him, and he's either going to become like an ally to Luffy like Law is currently, or he's going to become more like a friendly like Kid is, where, there's still some tension between Luffy and Kid, but in general, they're at least nice to each other in that sense. But, I could be completely wrong, and Yamato is just Odin in disguise, because I've seen some people suggest that, and I mean, that does make sense given, his whole character design, where he's wearing the whole, like the same bow thing that Sasuke wears. He's got the handcuffs on and all that, and he's just kind of waiting to get revenge on him after 20 years, because if someone is going to survive getting capped in a boiling pot of oil, it's 1000 going to be sent Odin. So I think that's going to be it for this video. If you have any thoughts, write them in the comments, that's cool. But other than that, stay safe, live life, and have a good day.